Alright, what's up, what's up, what's up? It's exactly 1:37 a.m. I have work at 11 on the dot a.m. I shouldn't be awake. I should be trying to get some sleep right now. Emphasis on the trying part. But, you know, you got something you're passionate about. You gotta work. I don't sleep. You work until your work is done, right? Wasn't always like this though. I used to hate poetry. Back in elementary school, you do English class. There's always this time of the year where you start learning about poetry. You learn about the different styles. You learn about haikus. You learn about limericks. You learn about all these different styles of poetry, and you have to write them yourself as well. I hated that time of the year. It wasn't until I had one teacher when I was I had her from my 6th to 8th grade, but Mrs. Campbell, had her from 6th to 8th grade. It wasn't until I had her as a teacher where I really started being okay with poetry. I started liking it. When I was still in my I don't like this phase, she used to put up pictures on the whiteboard. So she would take, just a picture. She had a picture of some leaves. She would put it up on the board. She had a picture of an apple. She would put it up on the board, and we had to write about it. We had to do some form of creative writing. More often than not, it was poetry. And we would have to present it to the class, and she would tell me afterwards, "Well, that was really good." I'm like, I didn't try. I didn't like it. And she just kept reassuring me that what I was writing was good. What I was writing was it had some quality to it, and that's in the 6th to 8th grade. So I was like, okay, you know what? I guess I'm kind of good at this. So that's when I started enjoying just the writing portion of it. Now, and this is just with small poems. Now, we get to my cousin's house. I was getting ready to leave and go home, and my cousins were just sitting by the front door watching YouTube, and it was a guy by the name of Ezekiel Azanu, part of a group called, or I don't know if he's part of the group or if they, he's just a feature artist that they use a lot. But Passion for Christ Ministries, P4CM. And the first thing I heard was Almost Saved by him. That was the very first spoken word I've ever heard. And that's where I fell in love with spoken word. Just hearing him speak, hearing how it was like almost hip-hop-ish, almost rap-ish, but it was just poetry. It was rap without a beat. It was music without music. And I fell in love with that. I did. That was the very first poem that I learned, or a spoken word that I learned. And from there, it's history. So this poem in particular, Overcome, or in parentheses, What If We Could Not Fail, is basically something that something that's really close to me. I tried I started performing spoken word in Greensboro, not too far from me, maybe 20-30 minutes. Started performing spoken word in Greensboro with my cousin, and I was loving it. I had to come up with a name. I decided to use conscious as in knowing right from wrong and not from being woke. Like, all this is, yeah, not that conscious. This is conscience. Like Jiminy Cricket. Um, but yeah, I started performing, and then that's where I was like, I think I could do this. I I want to do this. I want to be up. I want to perform. I want to speak. I want my words to be able to have an impact on somebody. That was 2 years ago. 2 years. 365 times 2. Do the math, because it's late, early, whatever you want to call it. I don't feel like doing it right now, and I don't feel like pulling out a calculator. But it's taken me 2 years to finally do a video. I had the equipment. I mean, look at that. It's a nice mic right there. I got a mic stand. I'm using a freaking a selfie stick to record this right now. We got my headphones and my mixer. We got my laptop that all this sound is gonna be going to. And I've had all of this for at least 2 years. Just sitting on the side of my bed. Just sitting in my closet. Just sitting there. I was afraid. I was afraid of what people would say. No. I wasn't afraid of what people would say, because I've had such good and positive feedback from my poetry. I was afraid of people saying nothing. That was my biggest fear with this. I started going into broadcast journalism. I know this sounds off topic, but it's not. I started going into broadcast journalism, and I decided to make a Facebook page. The page was called The Breakdown, and there I was going to start sending different things that I found important in basketball. Highlights. I would send those out. My Mount Rushmore basketball players, stuff like that. And the feedback was so low that it hurt. I gave up then and there. It bothers me. So this piece, What If I Could Not Fail, it tackles that. It talks about or it asks the questions, what if you could not fail? What would you do if you could not fail? If I knew I could not fail, I would have kept up with broadcast journalism. If I knew I could not fail, I would have done this 2 years ago. 2 whole years ago. Like I said, do the math, 365 times 2. Two years. And it's taken me this long to do something that I love. Because of the fear of failure. Because of the fear of people not responding. The fear of not getting feedback. I can take negative feedback. I can take constructive criticism. I can't take no feedback. So this is what this poetry, this spoken word tackles. This was more so for me than anything else. When I have this app that gives me ideas, little cards that gives me ideas that I could use to jumpstart my writing process. And one card said, what if we could not fail? Or what if you could not fail? And that hit me. If I knew that I could not fail, if I knew that I could not fail, Mm-mm-mm. It speaks volumes. I really just went on this whole ramble. Yeah, so what if we could not? What if we could not fail? It means a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to you. Excuse that junkiness. I'm about to clean that real quick. Without further ado, what if we could not fail? What if we could not fail?